name is Guillermo Dominguez. Everybody calls me Memo. I am one of the founders of OSL Ministries and director of the Home for Children in Mexico, Vidas Rendidas. And I wanted to show some of the progress that we have made in the last 6 years. And so this video will show some of the progress of the building first. So far as the building, that's as much as we've been able to get done in the last 6 years. Thanks to so many wonderful people. But the biggest impact that we had made here is in the life of the children that we had helped in the last 6 years. We started with 3 children and then 9, and then from there it's just growing. This last year we averaged 25 kids, and that's as much as we can right now with what we have. And if you guys notice in the last sections of the buildings, we started the building of the kitchen, and we hope in this year 2023 will be the year that we will get it done. Thank you so much for your support. Next, I'm gonna finish this video with some of the faces of the children that you have impacted, the ones that you guys have helped change the lives of them and for the good. And we just hope that if you're not supporting OSL Ministries, that you would consider it. We're doing some great things down here. If you feel like you're called to missions and come down and work with us for a week, a month, whatever, you're welcome here. Thank you so much for your support.
I am excited to hear what Memo and Renee have to say, and I just wanted to give you a heads up as they get ready to come. We said it's going to be a little bit different today, and as he shares, and you may have questions, he's going to make room at the end of service here for questions. So one of the things I want you to think about is if you've got a question you want to ask them, you'll be able to ask it. And you will see Paige and you will see myself later with a microphone. If you have a question when he asks, let us know and we'll bring the microphone to you so that way everyone can hear. Those of you joining us online, you're not going to be able to see who's asking the question, but you'll be able to hear it and you'll see Memo answer it because I am told that Memo has all the answers, right, Memo? So without any further ado, I'd like you to welcome Memo and Renee as they come and they share their hearts this morning.
Thank you, Pastor, and thank you, congregation, for having us. We are so thrilled. I'm going to kind of throw us off just a minute. Over the last month, we've been gone traveling to different churches that support us, and our children are not acting very well. They're having a lot of trouble at home with discipline, and it's like they've children gone wild. So if you would with me right now, agree with me as I pray for our workers in Mexico, and that they would have the strength, and let's ask Jesus to be with them down there. Heavenly Father, we lift up our workers to you today in Mexico, all those that are serving for orphans around the world. Lord God, we need the strength and the just that your will is going to be done, and that these children know about you. They know of your goodness. They know of your kindness. That you would bring yourself into that home today, Lord. Show yourself strong, and let Memo and I be able to go on and finish our journey and get back to our children. I know they're feeling anxious, and I know they think that we're not coming back. But, Lord God, as they seek you and as we pray for them, that they would be comforted knowing that we're coming back, we're coming home, and that everything is going to be good. And we thank you in your name, Jesus. Amen. Thank you so much. My little ditty here this morning is to let you know about what's going on in the lobby. Memo and I, we run this nonprofit organization, Our Surrender Lives Ministries, and sometimes the ministry has money that we can get paid on, in weeks, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes we're actually using our money to help support, but we need to do that because it's a way of us giving back too. I mean, we do give, but we need to give back too. So anyway, with that being said, I was really bored and feeling sorry for myself a few years back when we were doing the building. You see, I wasn't in any of those pictures with the building because I can't build. And so I was feeling sorry for myself because the women wouldn't let me cook. They wouldn't let me clean in the house we were staying in. And I was asking God, what am I supposed to do? Because I don't think you just put me down here to do anything. And he said, do your art. And I'm like, that's a little ridiculous because, God, I don't have any art supplies here. And I don't think Mexico has them. That was my attitude. And he said, no, there's art. And I was just like frustrated. I went outside. I started kicking the rocks that were in the ground. I was kind of crying, putting my head down. And I started seeing people in the rocks. I started seeing angels. I started seeing Mary, Joseph, the baby. I wasn't seeing rocks. And then he kind of just nudged me and said, there's your calling. And I'm like, wow. Okay, so Mexico does have glue. And I was able to start forming rock formations. And all of them to the glory of God, because if it's someone standing alone, they're in solitude, doesn't mean they're alone. God's with them. The nativities, the mothers and the babies, those are just things that I can't really do it. I feel like it's done in the spirit at 8 o'clock at night when all the kids go to bed. I get a little unwinding time, and I look forward to doing it. And I'm very surprised at some of the things that are forming, but it's not me, it's the Spirit. And so if they're out there for you to enjoy and see, and thank you so much. This is a personal a personal endeavor for Memo and I, so we can build a house next to the orphanage, behind the orphanage project, and that will also help us to be able to make flights home if we need to, and just have a little of our own personal money. So thank you so much for your support. Out there, a lot of people have donated to our ministry, so you can leave your donation at the desk also for your donation. If you do not have any money, you can just please take one, because I want it to be, if something calls to you, it needs to be in your home. It doesn't need to be packed up in a box in a storage unit, okay? And if you feel like you can give Lisa the money next week or whenever you can. I really want them to be out there in the world. When you see that on your shelf, pray for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so nice being here with you guys. I think we've been here 4 or 5 times in the span since you guys started helping us, and it's always a pleasure being here with you guys and seeing Pastor Jim, and all of you guys. I'm familiar with a lot of you that have been to Mexico. There's Becky, Jason. It's so nice to be here and share with you guys what you guys have done, because yes, we're there, but without the help of this church, we would have never taken off. Thanks to Fort Madison Church, for Victory Faith, and this church, we were able to go from a dream, a vision, to a small building, to housing 25 kids and caring for 25 kids. We have 25 kids right now. 23 of them go to school. We have the ages from 3 to 18. We have 3 in kindergarten, 14 in elementary, 3 in junior high, and 3 in high school. And next year, there would be 8 of them in junior high. It is so fun. We outsaw our number. We have 6 boys and 19 girls. And then it's just me and Jose and a bunch of lady workers. We have 4 ladies that helps us inside the house, and Jose outside. Right now, we short 3 people from our full team. It's getting harder and harder to find good people that wants to work with us. A lot of people that wants to work until they found out what it takes to actually be there, and some of them will run. We tell them that if you look at it as a job, then you're in the wrong place. Because if you're looking for a paycheck, it really doesn't pay enough. And we pay well, but it doesn't pay enough. I mean, it's hard, it's draining. Most than physically, it's emotionally, spiritually. You just deal with a lot of stuff that these kids have. When they come to our house, they all hurt. They all have a lot of issues. If their lives were perfect, they wouldn't be at our home, I guess. 15 years ago, God put this in my heart to build an orphanage in Mexico. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't want to go. I was the kind of person that, at that time, in 2008, I had just started the best job I ever had. I worked for Goodyear. It used to be Goodyear, now it's Continental in Mount Pleasant, and it was a good job. It got great benefits. I was in a good church. Our youngest daughter was a junior in high school. I was set. What I thought it was the American dream, and I was living it well, and I thought my life was what I thought it was where I should be, the peak of my Christian life and personal life. And one day, Pastor Roger Welty had just preached about what we wanted to be when we grew up. And he said that what we wanted to be when we grew up probably wasn't too far off from what God had for us, what the calling that God had for our lives before life and the circumstances, threw us off in whatever direction. And it just kind of came to my mind as I was at work, and I started thinking about why did I want to be when I grew up? And the first thing that came to my mind, it was when I was about 11, 12 years old, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and then that question popped up, and I said, someday I'm going to go to the United States, and I'm going to make enough money to come down here, get me a little piece of land, and build me a ranch. I love the country. When I was in Mexico, I was born and raised in Mexico until I was 16 years old, and I love the ranch. I love being with my grandfather. My life was a little dysfunctional, my childhood in the city. My dad was an alcoholic, and it was a lot of issues. My mom was was the one that held us together. And my happy times were at the ranch. And every summer, my mom would put us on the bus, and we would go down to the ranch. And so that came to my mind, the thought of, man, I'm going to go to the United States. I'm going to build me a ranch. And I thought, what was my circumstances at that point? I was like, man, I'm set. My house is paid off. I'm in a good job. I don't have no, major expenses. So I'm going to sell my house, buy me a little piece of property in the country. And then all of a sudden, I started picturing this little farm growing and growing. And I have this photographic memory that I can vividly see things, in my mind and my head. And this little farm started growing and growing. And all of a sudden, it turned into an orphanage. And I could see my family there helping me. And I thought, what is this? Why did it turn into an orphanage? And I felt this little voice inside of me that said, I'll give you the desires of your heart, but for my glory, not yours. And I thought, it can't be God, because there's no orphanage in the U.S., I thought. And then he said, no, not here in Mexico. And I thought, no, you got to be kidding me. I'm not going back to Mexico. I don't want to go back to Mexico. I want to go and visit, but I don't want to live there. My life is made here. And I couldn't stop thinking about this. And I would sketch it up, and I would go to break, come back to work, into my area, and keep thinking about this thing. And I doubted for 2 years whether it was God or not. And I'm telling you, I'm not lying. There was not a day on those 2 years that I didn't think about this, draw about this, plan something. A lot of the things that you saw build in the video are things that are sketched on a napkin from 2008, 2009. In 2010, God kind of tapped me on the shoulder and I said, hey, Memo, I still want you to do this. And we made the decision to actually start working towards this orphanage. But for the longest time, I would sit in church and think, I would love to be that, like pastors. I admire pastors, evangelists, and all those people with all those gifts to serve God. And I thought, man, I can't even memorize scripture. And God will never use me to that level. And that is a lie. That is a lie of the enemy. Because I cannot memorize scripture, but you can go out there and build an orphanage. I told my daughter one time, before I was saved, I would drive to East St. Louis and look at all those old buildings, and I would think, man, if I was a billionaire, I would rebuild all these buildings and make art centers out of this. I would do community centers, and I would do all this stuff. And about 2 years ago, we were driving through East St. Louis with my daughter. And then I said, Maya, I had this vision when I was younger about doing this, rebuilding all these buildings. He's like, Dad, that is so cool. That would be nice. And I said, if I was a millionaire, I would go to Mexico and build an orphanage. And he's like, you're not a millionaire. You're doing it. I was like, exactly. You don't have to be a millionaire to do something great for God. And I am so thankful that God put us, put this in our hearts to go do this, because we are changing lives and we're doing something great for the Lord. And without having what I thought was the gift, the ability to speak, I tell you what, I am petrified to be out here talking to you. And God has given me the ability to speak. I always said that I was not a preacher, I was not a pastor, I was not an evangelist. And for the last 7 years, I've been doing it. For the last 2 years, I've been preaching to my kids because I couldn't take them to church because of the pandemic. We couldn't take them out with orders from the state. So I've been preaching for the last 2 years to these kids, preparing a message just for them. And then some of our workers started coming on Sundays. And so now we just a few weeks ago, we just started going back to church. But we've been for 2 years. I've been pastor. I am an accountant. I am an architect. I am everything that I ever wanted to be. I am right now for the glory of God, not for mine. He has given me all of those talents, everything that I ever wanted to be. I am doing it, and it is amazing. Like everything, almost everything that has been built up until a few months ago, we built it at home. even the bars for the windows, we design them, we build them. All the beds, we design them, we build them. And we just built a shop a little over a year ago. Well, we haven't finished it yet because the kitchen took priority. The construction materials went up. We were supposed to build a shop and then build a kitchen, and then the construction materials, they sky high, and we couldn't finish the shop. So we moved on to the kitchen because it's priority. But we want to, the shop, the reason, like Renee asked me, why is it so big? I was like, because we want to teach the kids how to work. Our kids are interested on building everything, and we want to build everything at home, whether it is made out of wood or made out of metal, whatever. We build everything at home, and those kids are involved in everything that we do. So we want to teach them how to do it. And on the addition that we're building for the kitchen, there's an area where we're building a shop, an art room, and a sewing room, because those girls love to sew, and so we want to teach them how to use their hands. And a lot of them are not going to go to college, but if we can teach them how to survive, you know, we're doing our job. Our farm, we have 15 pigs, Renee and 1 pigs, but they a little far away, kind of. So we raise pigs cheap, and we have 4 cows, and we use them for our meat. We also have horses and 5 dogs, almost 6. And the kids are involved in everything with the horses, with the animals. We have 4 teenagers that are in charge of cleaning the stalls. And it's not so much about a job. We pay them for that, but they get paid little. But they save the other half. Whatever they get paid or whatever money they receive from us, they save half. So by the time they turn 18 or the age that they have to leave the orphanage, that they have some money. Susie, she came to us when she was 17. And then she didn't go to school. She had never been to school, so we couldn't put her in school. But she wanted to work. She wanted to help, so we gave her a part-time job until she turned 18. And then once she turned 18, then she was working full-time with us, and she just quit right before we left. She decided to go back with her mom and help her because they needed her help. But she had a savings, like $2,000 savings, you know, and that's what we want to do with every kid, you know, for them to have a little savings for the time that they leave, they have something. Josie probably has enough money to buy herself a little car when she leaves. And just we teaching them how to manage their money and how to save, how to give. When we had church, you know, we told them about tithing, and you're not making me rich, you know. Every so often we would save it, and then we would pick a charity where to give it to. And so we try to teach those kids as much biblical values as we can. We get to do it all over again. We didn't get that opportunity with our kids. We got saved when our kids were teenagers. Our older kids were teenagers. So we didn't get to do that from the beginning. And now we get to do it all over again and teach them about God and how everything they have is because of God, you know. And we are so blessed. We are so blessed, and thank you, guys, because you are a big part of this. Our kitchen, you know, we talk about our kitchen. Right now, there's 30 of us. There's 90, roughly about 90, at least 90 meals cooked a day on our kitchen. And our kitchen is little. Our dining, combine our kitchen and our dining area is about a 26 by 20. So it's pretty little. And sometimes we eat in shifts sometimes. The kids eat, and then the adults would eat. And then during school time, they eat in shifts too, because they get off at different times. But if we all wanted to sit down, we couldn't. And then when we have groups, there's times when we have groups up to 15 people that come and visit us. So it just isn't big enough. And it gets loud in there. And you try to keep them quiet, and it's just like, it's not happening. Because even if you whisper, there's 25 people in one little room, and it's just, even if you whisper, it's loud. And So this kitchen is gonna be about 3,600 square foot, our kitchen dining room area, and it's gonna help us a lot. We were hiring a contractor to do the other section, and most of the building, except for now, it was done by us, by us working on it, and missions groups coming over and helping us. And then we tried to do it with a contractor for this kitchen, and it just doesn't work that way for us. It doesn't work out very well because we don't know what our finances are gonna be from today to tomorrow. So now we're gonna go the old way, and I really miss the fellowship. I'm gonna be honest with you. I miss working outside. My back has been messed up for a while, and they haven't let me do anything since 5 months before my surgery, and then now after my surgery. And the doctor said, right, that I can go back to do whatever I was doing before. So I'm excited about working, and I'm excited about having fellowship with you guys, coming over and helping. Right now, the church in New Mexico has shown interest in coming down. A friend from Colorado wants to come down, Fort Madison. A couple guys from Fort Madison want to come down in middle of April. So we need you guys, really, we need you. Not just your financial support, and we are thankful for that, but we need to see you all. We need to see our friends and family to come over and see what you guys started, what you guys help us build, because that pushes us over, that gives us the strength, you know, just the prayers and the fellowship that we have when groups come. It is amazing. At least for us, it's not just, well, we didn't do anything. No, you did a lot. You know, it's just a simple fact of coming and interacting with the kids. It is a lot because it takes pressure off of us. Sometimes we are so busy just doing the core jobs in our place, like, you know, cleaning, cooking, doing this, doing that, running the kids over here, that we forget sometimes, just like in our house here, you know, we forget to fellowship with our kids and do fun stuff because we just can barely keep up with the parts that we had to keep up with, you know. So when you guys come and interact with the kids, it helps us out a lot. I wanted to leave it open. I wanted to leave some minutes for questions, and I know that a lot of you might have questions, and it's easier for me to kind of share with you guys with the questions that you have, and I know you all have questions, you know. So I want to, Pastor, if you guys can help me out. If anybody has any questions?
You have an orchard there?
Yeah, we have about 340 apple trees, and we thought at the beginning it was going to be an income thing. Nah, you have to invest a lot of money to make money, and for us to compete, we have 2 acres of the orchard sits in about 2 acres, and it's just not enough to compete. So I think we came to the realization that to use it for ourselves, it'll be more productive if we use byproducts and sell byproducts off the orchard than try to make money selling it, because we will never be able to compete with the market. The majority of the apple that we have is they call it double red, it's Rum Beauty, and it's a late blooming apple, and it's red, and it's really strong apple. So, and everybody has gone out of that because everybody tries to beat the market and go with the golden. So everybody has golden and forgotten about this apple. Well, whatever I have left over, I sell it for 3 times the amount of money that people would sell theirs, because everybody has gotten out of those old apple types. And climates that are really hot, they like this apple. And the kids help with everything that has to do with the orchard. The kids help to pick it, to eat them. Most of the time, they don't make it to ripe. Yeah. But this spring, we're thinking about planting another 100 trees and different stuff, plums and peaches and just different stuff because the kids enjoy it, and it's good for us to have it. It'd be more productive because if we sell it, we might make $500. But if we can it and keep it, I mean, it saves us more money than what we can make by selling it by bulk. Yes, sir?
I was just wondering exactly where you're located and how hard is it to get building materials where you're located?
We located about 6.5 hours down from El Paso, south of El Paso, southwest of El Paso. And we always took building materials, and it wasn't hard to get them across. It's just very expensive because right now the tax is 19%, and they don't give you a break for building materials. So a lot of the times when we took building materials from here, it cost a lot of more money. But it was convenient at that time because we would go and do this rapid mission trips when in 4 days we had to build a bunch of stuff, and it was convenient to take everything. But right now, with the prices, it's not even convenient to take it unless it's something that I cannot get out there. Most of the time, I just buy it in the U.S., but most of the material I buy down there. And there's this Mennonite corridor, and you can find anything that you ever want from the U.S. Of course, they charge you in dollars, so it can be very expensive, but I can find just about anything there.
Anyone else have a question? We'll run it to you.
If people would come down on a mission trip like that, what would the accommodations and stuff be? And another question also is, you hear so much now about cartel and danger on the border and everything, especially recently. Is that an issue or a factor?
We have never had any problem. Is it safe? No, nobody can guarantee safety in nowhere, even in the United States. But I really feel pretty safe. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but we come a lot to the United States. There's times when I'm more fearful in the U.S. than I do in Mexico. What you hear in Mexico, I'll be fearful in Mexico if I was doing the wrong thing. If I was involved with people that are in drugs, I would be scared because people that are in drugs, they have the risk of getting killed. If your cousin, your nephew is involved in drugs, don't invite him to your house, because they killing each other. The drug cartels are killing each other. They don't just go and target American people or wealthy people. You don't see that often. It's very rare. And you don't see where there's not even school shootings in Mexico. I think there's one recorded in the whole history of Mexico of a school shooting. They don't go and kill a bunch of innocent people just for the fun of it, just because to prove a point. Most of the stuff that you hear of is people that are involved in something wrong, or an accident, get in the crossfire or something. But I have not been in a situation when I had feel unsafe in Mexico, and we have had several groups come and I always ask him, did you feel safe? He's like, Memo, at no time I felt unsafe. And when we started doing this in 2008, it was bad. It was on the core of the drug war. And we thought, and a lot of people asked us, why you want to go there? There's people leaving Mexico. I'm like, because that's where God called me to be. And are you scared? No, I'm cautious, but I'm not scared. And for me, at least for me and my wife, I think we both think this way, is that if we die doing the work of the Lord, what is the worst that can happen to me? Getting killed? I mean, what is the worst thing that can happen? I'm doing what God called me to do, and the truth is that I don't feel unsafe. I don't. Yeah, faith over fear.
So you have 25 children. How do they come to you? Is it through the state of Mexico? Could you have more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they come to different ways. A lot of them, they come because of the state. Like DHS, they'll bring them over. Sometimes it's just for a night, and they never leave. We have kids, they showed up just overnight, and they've been there 4 years. And it's still under DIF. There's, I think Jeanette has been there almost 6 years, and Jeanette and her sister. And Jeanette just aged out, but is still in our home because she's still in school. But they come for, let's say there was an incident or they found him on the street, and they'll call us and, hey, Memo, can you receive a boy or girl until we do an investigation? Sometimes it can be 4 days. Even an investigation can last for 2 years, a year. So that's one way that they come. We have 6 kids that are from DHS right now that are under their watch. The rest of them are because of a family member or a parent. Not all of our children are orphans. Most of them miss one parent. They're missing one parent, but the other one can take care of them. And a lot of the issue that we see with this culture, we serve the Tarahumara Indians mainly, and their culture is messed up. I mean, most of the time, let's say the husband dies, and the lady's left with 3 kids. Well, she will remarry. That guy don't want the other kids. So they neglect those kids, and they'll end up losing them to the system. Or they would go to our house, and they say, hey, can you help me with my kids? Well, I do an evaluation, and most of the time it's not even a financial evaluation. I just look at the dynamics of it, because that's a recurrent thing that they won't take care of the other one's kids. So there's times when they bring a kid, and it happened with Roque, and the mom came, and a man and a woman came, and he's like, we wanted to see if you could accept him. We would like him to go to school and be taken care of. And then I looked at the dynamics of, okay, and you can tell that they are poor. Most of the kids that are in homes like ours is because of extreme poverty. So I looked at the dynamic and I said, okay, so are you the dad? No, I'm the stepdad. That's a red flag. He will never accept a kid. And that's the reason that they are asking for me to take care of the kid, because they had a younger kid, and I say, what about him? They're like, no, we okay with him yet, Why? Because that's the kid's, the man's kid. So a lot of times I think, okay, am I going to accept this kid right now that he's 6 years old, and he can go to school right now and start from the beginning, or are they going to bring him when he's 12 and he's never been in school? Most of those kids come from the mountains, and they never been to school. Susana, the one that I was talking about, she just left. She came at 17, and she had no concept of money, or she didn't know how to write her name. She didn't know the numbers, and she has always worked, and she had never received a paycheck because she lived with her parents, and they went to work, and she never received a check in her life. The parents paid for whatever she needed, but then she didn't have a concept of anything. So we taught her how to write her name and tried to teach her how to count, how to manage money. So yeah, it's difficult. We had to start from the beginning on most of these kids.
I think we got a follow-up question over
Yeah.
here about accommodations on a trip. Is that right, Jim?
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I was
that's
just wondering
right.
if somebody would come down to spend time and work at the mission, where would they stay?
Yeah, see, if it's a small groups, they can stay at our place. And we will accommodate, even if it's 14, we will accommodate. I don't know how you guys feel. There's a group from New Mexico that they always come, and their groups are between 12 and 14 people that come. And they rather stay at a hotel. And the hotel that they stay at is only 5 minutes away from the house. So that's how they like to do it. Most of the groups that ever came with us, they stayed with my family. They stayed at our place or right across the road at my mom's house. And they always accommodate. I like that way because at least I used to like it because you get to experience the whole thing. If you just want to go on a mission trip and help, and be able to rest, the hotel is the better choice. But if you want to, just jump right in and get the feel of what the culture is and how things run the day to day, I mean, we will accommodate you right where we at. Yeah. Yes.
Hi. So the kids that come to you that have the emotional and pain and trauma that they've been through, is there like a process that you go through with them, like a healing, or how do you deal with all that?
Yeah, that's a good one. Uh, we, it is hard. Um, we, thanks to the help of Lisa and Jeannie Kuckelman, you know, I got a little bit of a head start on how to help some of these kids. But we also have the help of some psychologists. We used to have one in our house, but she's not with us anymore. But we need to find a psychologist because it's actually a requirement of the state. We have to have a psychologist. But when it's an issue that is serious, we have a psychologist that we can call and come and attend to those kids. And the other ones, we just try to help them personally. And most of those kids, the truth is that most of them, they just need love and attention. Most of them, they don't know what love is. The word love is not even on their vocabulary for some of them. You know, attention or even a hug, you know, that's not, it is difficult. When they first come to our house, everything is new to them because the way we interact with them like if we were a family. And some of them, we try to teach them how to relate with one another as brothers and sisters because they most of them been abused by a brother or sister, a cousin, an uncle, a dad. So we got to teach them a lot of that, the behavior that you're supposed to have with your brothers and sisters. So it is difficult, and we have to keep an eye on them all times. We have the boys in an area, and the girls, they commute, they cross each other and stuff. But when we are shorthanded and there's only two of us in the house, okay, boys, to that side. And in their area, their rooms is like 2 rooms, bathroom, and they have a common area where they have the TV, they have their Legos. And so if we shorthanded, it's like, okay, guys, to your side. And the girls on the main living room. And they'll watch TV on that side or they play on that area, and the boys out here. If we have a full team and we all there, I don't care if they cross each other on the hallway and they eat together. Sometimes we'll play outside together. But yeah, we have to keep an eye on it because the word love is different to them than what it is for us.
And then, like you said, some of them are through DHS or whatever they call it, and that's in Mexico. But so do you have them continually come every month to, like, whatever agency to check on you guys like they do in the United States?
Yeah, even if I didn't have DHS kids, they'll come and check. And they're very strict. We have 3 different agencies that come and check us, actually 4. Well, the state will come, and they'll bring a psychologist and social workers. And the social worker will go in the office with me, make sure I have all the paperwork, and their files have to be complete. They have to have their medical file, everything. They check all the paperwork, and then the psychologist interviews every single one of our kids by themselves to see if there's any physical or mental abuse. And we get those about once a year. Before COVID, we were getting them twice a year. And then we get COESPRIS, which is like the health department. And they check everything. I mean, your cans have to have dates on them when you bought them. When they go out, in and out, we have to have dates in our storage, food storage, we have to have by dates. So you cannot have older dates in front of the new dates. They're super strict. And those guys, that department is the only department that they can actually shut me down in a second. If they see something that is not right, they'll call DHS and shut me down. The other departments, we have Protección Civil, which they come and check all the safety. It's kind of like OSHA here. They'll go and make sure that you have all your exits clear, your fire extinguishers up to date, all of that. And then we get the food department from DHS that they'll come and make sure just things. You cannot have any expired medicines. It is a lot of work because even if you go to the store and buy some bread and you think you're going to use most of it, if you don't use it all, you have to put a stamp on it with a date and put it in the fridge or whatever and store it. You cannot have food in the fridge that has been 3 days in there. So every 2 days we have to use the leftovers or give them to the pigs. It's it's really strict.
Yes, so how do you protect the boys from all them girls?
Oh, that's hard. Like, no, it's, and actually we do. Actually, the girls are more apt to hurt the boys than and the thing is that we most of the time it's the girls that we have to correct, and the boys I have to tell them, you know what, you have a lot to lose, so keep your hands to yourself and your comments to yourself, and treat the girls with respect. And most of the problem is the girls. We try and we have a lot of cameras. We have cameras on the rooms and the core areas. We have, I think, 18 cameras throughout the property. And you need them because we got cases where a girl was saying that one of the boys pushed her, and she was really upset that he pushed me and accusing him. And we went and watched the cameras, and nope. So we try the cameras are to protect us and protect the children, because I don't want, yeah.
Just one more quick question. I know when kids age out of foster care, sometimes that's a pretty sad thing. Are there still things that you can do with the kids that age out? And are there some that come back, that have been successful? How's that look when they age out at 18?
Yeah, actually, we still family. Only 3 people has left our place. We are fairly new. We only been there for 6 years, 7 years, and but the girls that had left, one of them turned 18 and went back with their sisters that they were older, and they didn't have a mom, and the dad was never to be found. They've been on the system since they were 4 years old. She was with us, and she had been in the system since she was 3 months old. And the other 2, they were orphans of mother and father, and they were with us since 2017. But we have known them since they were little, because we used to visit an orphanage that we used to support. And those girls, Anna was going to college. We sponsored her to go to college, and she was going to law school. And then they moved into their own apartment. We found them jobs. We helped them get on their feet and be independent with holding our hands. And then Anna ended up dropping school, but they hold jobs, and they very good. They really nice girls. They come and visit. If they on vacation, Christmas, they'll spend Christmas with us. Any holiday, they spend with us. And if they have a long weekend, Marisa will call me, "Hey, Dad, we coming home." I'm like, "Okay." So when they turn 18, they are at our home until they finish high school. It's 18 or finishing high school. So like Jeanette, she turned 18, but she still had 1 more year of high school, so she can be with us until then. And then if they turn 18, if they don't go to college, we'll find them jobs or some trade school that they can go to. So we don't just give them a kick in the butt. We try to help them and get them going. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? No? Yeah, one? We'll maybe wrap it up here with this one.
I was just wondering, with the family members of these children that you have, do they come back and visit, or do you guys do reunifications? Is that a DHS thing? Do you do anything like that? Because, I mean, the abuse and the culture is a lot different there. So I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, actually, the parents are legally, they supposed to visit those kids or a family member, somebody. Because if they don't visit them for a certain time, I'm legally obligated to report it to DHS, and they will be considered an abandonment. They can do a phone call, even if it's an uncle or whatever, but they supposed to. There's parents that have never come after they drop them off, and if they ask us, we'll tell them nobody has come. And when they do income inspections, they always ask the kids, has anybody ever come and see you? If they don't, they'll put a checklist on it and they start looking for those family members. So, but Yeah, like some of the kids that we accept, they are from a family member. So besides Steve, a family member can come and say, you know, my daughter abandoned the kid, you know, and or she's really sick and she's dying. The dad is nowhere to be found, and I can take care of her. So we'll accept the girl, and then she'll be with us, and then the family will come and visit from time to time. But they are supposed to come and see them. Yeah. You know, in Romans 8:28, it says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called to according to His purpose." I mean, we believe without a doubt that this is what God called us to do, and God will meet every need that will come up in the way because He called us to do this. You know, and we bank on that, whether it's for safety or whatever. You know, we trust in Him, and we know that He's going to take care of it. And thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And we hope to see you all down there.